All right, what's up, people? Yes, I know. Before you say anything, I'm playing Destiny 2 in 2025. The game's dying, I know, but I'm still having fun with it. And I want to take you back to the start of episode Revenant, where I made this stasis build because the season was very stasis based, and I used the Rhymecoat Raiment exotic chest piece, a very, very good exotic, especially for endgame content where you're not going to be really getting a lot of kills, but freezing things and suspending things are super important. From the very start, this build was extremely good. And every single act, Bungie kept adding in new artifacts or artifact mods that really, really boosted the benefits of this build to make it honestly one of the best Warlock builds in the game. So I wanted to real quickly show it off, and I have some gameplay that should be going on in the background as I explain what's happening. Here we have the Prismatic Warlock that comes with the build. The exotic would be better on the stasis subclass itself, but because we're combining stasis and void, Prismatic Warlock is honestly perfect for this setup, and this becomes the best Warlock you can have on the Prismatic subclass, in my opinion at least. I think this is perfect for literally any content. Raids, GMs, dungeons, any sort of story anything that you take a PvE Warlock into, you could use this build and you'll do wonderfully with it. It's really good. So for the aspects, obviously we have the Bleak Watcher turret. This will let our stasis exotic work. And then we have Feed the Void because we need Devour. Devour is super important for literally anything. We're using the Healing Grenade because it has the lowest cooldown. We have the Pocket Singularity. I'm going to show you why this is important in a second, so just hang on. For fragments, we have the Facet of Command. This is just super helpful for any sort of stasis build because you're going to be freezing things. Facet of Ruin, same thing. You're going to be shattering stasis crystals, so it does more damage. Facet of Awakening is super important when it comes to using these new artifact mods. I'll show you that in a second as well. Facet of Balance just makes it so we get a little bit more ability energy. And Facet of Dawn makes it so whenever we use our melee, we get Radiant, which is just another buff on top of all of the buffs we already have. We're using Nova Bomb. This honestly doesn't really matter. Anything would work in this, any super would work in this build. You could use Needle Storm, you could use Song of Flame, doesn't matter. I would just recommend either using Nova Bomb or Winter's Wrath because it goes along with the weapons you're using. For the artifact mods, we will be using Served Cold, which makes it so whenever you pick up a Stasis Shard, you get class ability energy, and whenever you pick up a Void Breach, you get melee energy. We are using the Old God's Right, which makes it so after picking up a Void Breach, dealing damage with a Void weapon creates a rain of seeking projectiles. Void Renewal, which makes it so when Devour is active, Void weapons have a chance to create a Void Breach. Obviously, we got the Concussive Reload because grenade launchers are really good this season. Hail the Storm makes it so whenever you shatter a stasis crystal, it'll release shards of ice that will damage and slow targets. This is super good for the stasis exotic that we have on. Power from Pain, rapidly defeating weakened combatants, grants you Devour. This one is not super important if you're not using weapons that are like, if you're not using a weapon that'll let you apply weaken. This one isn't super important. You can swap this out for like Finders Keepers to get more armor charge or whatever. You don't really need this one. It's just nice to have. We also got Thick of It because a lot of the time you do get surrounded by enemies, and honestly, one of the best plays I've found is to put down your stasis crystal, stand in it, and let the enemies come to you, and then you blow everything up. It's really satisfying. We have Rapid Impacts just to help us with grenade launchers. And then we have this Frenzied Hunger perk, which makes it so rapid final blows while Devour is active grants a bonus to reload and handling. Just some extra stat benefits and everything. And then we have Authorized Mod Grenade just to make it so grenade armor mods are a lot less expensive. For armor mods, we have all of this. You can see I will have a dim build in the link in the description, so you guys can just real quickly grab the build from there. And honestly, this build is really insane. But I think the best part about this build is just how versatile it is. In my primary and energy slot, you can see I have a ton of just weapons sitting here. You can mix and match any of these weapons together and it will work beautifully. Obviously, don't mix and match two special weapons, like don't put two special weapons. But you can put a primary here and then put like Lemon Arc here, Choir of One. Any weapon that is either stasis or void will work beautifully. Because of the Facet of Awakening mod, which makes it so rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blows generates a elemental pickup of the matching damage type. that will synergize perfectly with Serve Cold and Old God's Right, which Serve Cold, whenever you defeat an enemy with a stasis weapon, it'll make a stasis shard, and then the stasis shard will give you class ability energy. Same thing with Void Weapon. A Void Weapon will create a Void Breach, and then the Void Breach will give you melee energy, and then also make it so your next source of Void damage will create the Old God's Right, which will spawn in Void Projectiles, dealing even more damage. This setup is very like lockdown heavy. You can straight up lock down an entire room. Nothing will be able to touch you because it's all frozen, and you'll be doing a ton of void damage to the entire place. And it's really, really strong. Like, it's super powerful. And like I said before, you can mix and match anything. Some of my favorites are obviously the classic Lost Signal and Graviton Lance. This is honestly just really good no matter what you're doing. You don't even have to be on this build, and this setup is really good. Something else that I honestly wasn't expecting to be super good is Tanisha's Mastery, which is the new Iron Banner Stasis rocket sidearm with Chill Clip, and Fighting Lion. This episode, I don't know when it happened, but it was sometime this episode, Fighting Lion got a buff where whenever you do a direct hit with Fighting Lion, it'll cause enemies to become volatile, which is really good. Because not only do you have the freeze and shatter from stasis, but now you also have volatile. And then I was realizing a lot of void weapons have some sort of void debuff affliction. So Fighting Lion has volatile. The new Slayer's Fang exotic will allow you to weaken targets after you get a kill. So that will lean into this artifact mod right here, Power from Pain. So even more Devour. Wave Splitter is honestly another really good option. Wave Splitter will suppress targets whenever you sustain fire. Le Monarch has its own unique poison, which I really wish this poison actually synergized with Void, the Void subclass, but honestly, it's fine. You don't need it to synergize. Tessellation, I don't have the Tessellation Catalyst, but this can also have its own synergy whenever you unlock the Catalyst. Choir of One is also a really good one because Choir of One can get the Catalyst of Destabilizing Rounds, which will honestly probably be the best weapon pair for this because Choir of One already does really good damage, but then you also add in the Destabilizing Rounds, so you can have a lot of ad clear as well. So I feel like Choir of One will be the best like pairing. But honestly, really any void weapon works. Like, I don't have every void weapon here, but any void weapon works. You can also put on a void legendary weapon and start using some of the stasis exotic weapons. So Wicked Implement will be really good for any sort of Grandmaster content or things you can't get close to. Wicked Implement is really freaking good. Same thing with Alathum. Alathum is already a really good exotic. I need to unlock its catalyst, but once you get the one for all catalyst, it's going to be super good. Literally any weapon that is stasis or void will be really, really good for this build because this takes the best parts of stasis and the best parts of void and puts them together. The best part of stasis obviously being the stasis turn, and then the best part of void obviously being Devour. You put them together and it works beautifully. In the background, you should now be seeing some of my gameplay that I was getting before. This is just me and some like the seasonal content, but you can easily see me clearing any room I get into by putting down a stasis turret and then just blowing up the room with void energy. A lot of the time I will probably be using Graviton Lance because Graviton Lance is just so good, but it doesn't need Graviton Lance. You can use anything. Hell, you don't even have to use weapons. Honestly, you could use your own fists. That's honestly also the reason why I have this Pocket Singularity melee instead of any of the other melees on the void subclass, is because this melee will make targets that you push or that you hit, it'll make them volatile, which is just another debuff that adds on to the other debuffs in the that we're having here. So we can freeze things, we can shatter things, we can weaken them with certain weapons, we can make them volatile, we can suppress, we can do everything. And honestly, another really good weapon for this setup would be the Valve the Disciple exotic Collective Obligation. This would be honestly really peak for this setup specifically because you have all of these different debuffs that you can activate with this exotic. So you can pair this with Tanisha's Masteries to get the Chill Clip or any other weapon that has Chill Clip and destroy rooms. It's really good. I didn't talk about the power weapon, but the power weapon really doesn't matter. I'd say either use a void or a stasis power weapon so you can always have the right weapon surge on your boots, So if there's like a void modifier going into it, like the void surge modifier, you can also put the weapon surge on your boots to get even more void damage. Same thing with stasis, it doesn't really matter. But honestly, always use either a stasis weapon or a void weapon The other weapons don't really work. So this is honestly going to be my Warlock build from now until the end of time. I'll be using this basically forever until Bungie makes something better or new. This build is super, super good. I do want to get back into making more Destiny builds, so you're going to see a couple more Destiny videos here and there throughout, you know, the rest of the episode. And let's see what happens during the Heresy episode that's coming out sometime in February. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.